Hi everyone, I'm here with Tom Morrison from Tom Morrison Training. And Tom, do you want to introduce yourself and talk about what you do and what your Instagram page does and all the rest?
Yeah, absolutely. I take really complicated information and make it simpler and more achievable to normal people. So there's a lot of stuff that you can read online that is just really overwhelming, and so I like to boil everything down to its bare roots and just sort of say, rather than naming individual muscles and things that need strengthened, to actually teach people how to have a bit of a wiggle and get stronger that way. So knowing what to look out for with your own body, which is very important, and how to avoid injuries and how to improve your ranges of motion for whenever you're moving, because people don't realize the difference that you can make over a long period of time through your own exercise daily, like just for a couple of minutes a day, and they expect other people to fix them. So like going to a physio and say, right, you fix my problems. Whenever ultimately the best thing for you to do is to actually improve your own movement every day just a little bit, because the compound effect of that is going to be a lot better. So that's what I like to promote, to help people move a bit better and get stronger, and then see them achieve awesome things.
Yeah, and like the stuff Tom does is really good. Like it's the mobility and stuff that you all talk about is boiling it down basically back to the basics and making it simple. Like, and it's useful. It's really helpful. So we're going to talk about a few questions that Tom gets asked a lot, and I would get asked a lot. And the first one is, what is the difference between flexibility and mobility? So what do you think? What's the difference?
I don't know.
No clue. That's it. Cut.
Open-ended question. Flexibility and stability would be the ones that I would poke towards being what mobility actually is. So flexibility is your ability to move something. So say I can move my arm up to here, that is my flexibility. But if I was able to just throw it up there, that would be what it can do. But my mobility would be my ability to actively move within that range, or have stability within that range. So mobility is the combination
of flexibility,
being able to move something. Yes, so your flexibility is where it moves, and the stability element is your control of that movement. And the better control you have over the movements that you have, the better your mobility is. Whereas you can be too flexible. So if a joint is, say, just wiggling around doing its own thing, and you have no control over that, then that's why you get people to be hypermobile.
Yeah.
Maybe have joints pop out, sublux, anything like that can happen to them just because there's no stability there. And then there's people that would be too rigid, so they'd be like almost too stable, for want of a better word, and they're missing the range of motion. So they're trying to do exercises that
require a larger range of motion,
require better flexibility that they don't have. So yeah, great, they're stable and they could be really strong. So like a powerlifter, as long as a powerlifter sticks to powerlifting stuff, powerlifter will be fine. But as soon as a powerlifter starts to try and do burpees, or starts to try and really push their overhead press, if they've never done any kind of retraction exercises, as long as they just stick to the stuff they're practicing and getting stronger at, they'll probably be fine. But at the second they start to drift away from that, or one of the worst things that they will do is maybe try and start to do yoga exercises. A big heavy powerlifter trying to do a flexibility idea that is designed for people that are much lighter will break them. So it's much, you need to know the causes and effects of the training that you're doing, and the type of mobility that you need will change depending on the sport that you're doing as well. So very open-ended question, and it really depends on the stuff that you're doing. So if you're wanting to get crazy strong weights, you need to be doing the type of mobility work that is going to make you have just enough with the ranges that you need to be able to do the movements that you're trying to get better at, and then strengthen those ranges. Whereas if you're doing something that requires you to be more flexible, say you were just really interested in hand balancing and you wanted to have a better compression and be able to, do the fancy hand stuff and all the splits and stuff like that, then you need to be more flexible and work within those ranges and do the mobility type of training that requires, or that will give you the strength for the things that you want to do. So yeah.
So basically you're saying is you want to be as mobile as you want to be for that type of training that you're doing. So whether it be like the handstands or the splits or whatever, you want to be as mobile as you need to be for that. Or if you go to the powerlifting side, you need to be probably less mobile, but it suits that type of training.
Yeah.
And that type of,
so you want your spine to be rigid and be able to shift weight. Whereas if you were to start doing sort of compression exercises, they would not complement that. So you're not going to be able to brace in the same way. Now there's a very small minority that can do both. If you've ever seen the likes of Juju Mufu, that guy can do crazy flexibility stuff, and he's also crazy strong as as well. That is a very small
I don't know
minority.
I actually haven't seen who he is.
You
But I
haven't
must
seen
look
him, you
up.
have to look him up. He's one of the very, very small broad of people that you can have that can do both. They can be extremely flexible and also are crazy strong as well. Now, that'll really depend on how long you've been training for. So, say you were very flexible when you first started, or just naturally very flexible. You know, these people that you've ever met that just drop down into the splits without ever trying. One of those people, and then they get strong, then yeah, they could probably maintain their flexibility and be stronger. Whereas if you didn't start training until your later teens or whatever, and you've already got whatever sort of tightness or whatever going on, then it's going to be harder for you to improve your flexibility and be able to transfer that into new stuff. So it really depends on your own background and what you train.
Yeah. So then another question then we get asked is, what is the importance of mobility? Like, why do you think people need to have mobility, or why is mobility a good tool to have in the toolbox kind of thing?
It's the gateway to everything. So if you don't move well, you'll be sore. If you don't have control of your joints, you'll be sore. You'll get injured. And one of the biggest things that's the stumbling block that will cause anyone not to complete a program is going to be injury or being sore. You know what I mean? You're going to become demotivated. If you're being sore after every training session, then you're going to be demotivated.
Especially if you're feeling it more in your joints than you are in your muscles, then that's a real demotivator.
Yeah, so you have a good pain and bad pain. So yeah, if your joints are sore, that's bad. But if your muscles are a wee bit sore, that's okay. But if you're always finding, say, that like one muscle's always getting sore, say after every training session, no matter what you do, your quads are always sore, there's a big chance that in your mobility training you're missing out some element of your hips. So if you don't have good access to your hamstrings and your glutes whenever you're training, and say your hips don't open properly in the right way, your quads are dominating everything, then you're always going to feel that pain in the quads. And then you can go down the route of always saying foam rolling your quads, or spending a fortune getting your quads massaged every week multiple times, whenever in actual fact you really actually need to be focusing more on learning how to train your hamstrings properly, or making sure your hips are open in the right way. So big thing about how the hips are going to work is going to be having a good equal balance between internal and external rotation, having good flexion, having good extension, and also having good lateral movement as well. So if they don't move well laterally and they don't rotate, they're not going to move in the right ways. And if you're missing any of those kind of elements, then the muscles are not going to work in the right way. So have you ever seen the deep lunge test that I always post?
I think I have seen it.
Try and get a clip of it to flash
up. I'll show
the
a
deep
clip of
lunge
it
test.
here.
If someone's really missing that element of their hip flexion, their adductors are going to be tight. And like, tell me right now, what happens if someone's adductors are tight?
They're going to be offline. They're going to be imbalanced.
Offline. The knee's not going to track properly. They're going to get back pain. You know what I mean? They're going to strain their groin. If anything in there is tight and not opening up properly, glutes are not going to work properly, and it's just. They just won't, because they can't.
They won't, because they'll be in the wrong range, they'll be in the wrong position.
Exactly, so they're not going to be able to open up. The hips don't open the right way, and the muscles don't work in the right way, and that's why you'll find yourself starting to fall into issues with your training. Being sore in the same muscle all the time, it's not a good thing. So then again, it's going to put you off, and so it's just going to make you fall into that route of thinking, oh, I'm just quad dominant. And it's not. It's like you've missed a range of motion, or you're not accessing muscles right, or you're just using your quads for everything instead of actually engaging your hamstrings when you're lifting weights.
And as Tom just said there in the last question, it's all about control and stability of the joint. You know what I mean? Moving the limb around a joint. And so if you're lacking strength, you know what I mean, where say your hamstrings always where your hamstrings aren't always activating and your quads are always sore, as he said there, it means that you don't have a good stability of your joint, of your leg muscle, because you can't activate the muscles correctly. You can't activate the hamstrings, you can't activate the glutes as well as you would want to, and that's why your quads are taking over.
So that's why I go mobility first, because if I can make someone move well naturally and make their joints work really well, then they're going to have access to their true strength before we even start to do programs. So that's why the program I use, SMM, is going to be the first thing I'll get you to do, because I know then everything's in the right place, it moves in the right way, and then now we can progressively load. Whereas if you start to progressively load bad movement, you're going to get stronger at bad movement, and that's what happens. And it can take years to even notice these issues happening, and then like 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, you're always getting knee pain, and then you just start to say, oh, I'm old. And I'm having people that are 25 years old telling me they're old, and it's like, no, it's not the way it works. It's like you're doing something wrong. It's always the person. There's no one sport or training form that's bad for someone. It's always down to the person, and the more we're getting into mobile phones or desk jobs or working for longer hours every day, the worse that's going to get, because people are not moving enough to support what they're trying to do in the gym for an hour, or on the pitch for 90 minutes.
And as well, like if you're not being active during the day, then that lowers the amount of time that the joints and the muscles are, you know what I mean, that the joints and the bones and all are under pressure and stuff, and that can even affect bone density and all these different other things because you're sedentary more often and all the rest of it. So one thing even to take away from just now, more and more active, everyone needs to be more active. Right, what is the best warm-up, Tom? What is the best warm-up?
Best warm-up is the one you need. Warm-ups will change, so if you move really well, so say you have great hips, great shoulders, great posture, and you never get sore, and your warm-ups can be quickly. You know, you can be one of those people that walk into the gym and seem that they don't warm up, but that's more likely going to be because you've already put that work in. So I spent a long time, so I injured my back really badly, and ended up just not even being able to bend my head without my lower back hurting, couldn't put my leg on the floor, so I was forced to take a year basically to just completely change how my body moved and worked. And now I can come into the gym and I can just start lifting. I can do whatever. I know my body well enough. I've auto-regulated myself enough that I know how I feel day to day, and I know when I can come in and lift heavy if I feel like it, or I know when I would maybe need to back off. And that comes from practice and knowing your body better and knowing the ranges better with your body as well. So warm-ups can be progressive. If you are someone that say maybe is having issues with muscle engagement or know that you are missing a range, so again bring back the deep lunge test. If you know you can't pass that test, you can't get your elbow down beside your heel, you know you need to work on your hip flexion, so that needs to be part of your warm-up. Make that a goal to progressively get better at that, and then when you get that range, you just maintain that range. And if you're able to say warm up and just do a few reps and you're able to get the elbow down the floor after a few reps, you're ready to go. So your warm can be a lot quicker. But if you're really stiff, you want to give yourself 10, 20 reps maybe, and even work on it at night as well. So that's a big thing as well. You can do a lot of stuff at home and people don't realise that.
Yeah.
If you have a little bit of a movement routine, like first thing in the morning if you can, or if you're just some people that can't do that, then have something at night time. Know what you're working on and what you're trying to improve on, and that's going to carry over in the gym. So you're going to be able to get away with doing a lot less in the warm-up, so you can save your energy for your actual session, because the worst thing is people coming in and feeling like they need these 20-minute, 30-minute warm-ups, and they've got every band out and the rollers out, and they're doing all these kind of weird down walks and trying to isolate each muscle and work it all together and then do a compound lift, which doesn't make any sense. So think of warm-ups as something that you work on a weakness, so that you know that you're trying to improve on something and make it better every time. And if you know that you're struggling to activate a muscle, activate that muscle first. So if you know you struggle to activate your hamstrings, do some hamstring sliders first, or something that's going to help you to feel them before you actually start the exercises that you're doing. So yeah, that's probably the best way to start thinking about warm-ups. So make yourself move so damn well that you feel like you don't actually need one. So basically what you're saying is that your warm-up should be tailored towards what you find is your weakest area. Mobility-wise, there's still obviously going to be your sport-specific warm-up. So yeah, if you're going to be going and running the pitch for however long, do a general quick running warm-up. Mobility-wise, if you're coming into the gym and you're just spending ages doing a ton of different things with no real reason why, then there's no point to it. You need to have, what are you trying to improve on?
Yeah, and as you said there's no point doing individual muscles with them. You're going to go do a compound exercise that uses multiple muscles. So what's the point in doing it?
Exactly. So work on your balance, work on full range joint movement, rather than trying to just pick on your soleus, or what I mean. There's no actual reason for that, and it just doesn't carry over to anything else. So yeah, think of warm-ups that way, and then get the heart rate up. That's it should be enough for you. You should make yourself such a good mover that it should be enough to you to hop on a bike or hop on a rower and be ready to go.
And one thing that you just said, that just in case anyone at home doesn't know, auto-regulate is just basically when you assess yourself and how you're feeling that day. So out of 10 being you're feeling your best, not feeling not so great, to auto-regulate to see how you're feeling that day. That's all that is. Okay.
I guess it's probably one of the most important things to learn about yourself is
how you're feeling that day, because there's no point trying to push yourself for a max bench on a day that you feel a 4 out of 10. Do you know what I mean? Or whatever your exercise is for that day. If you're trying to hit a PR on something, whatever it is, the row, the bike, the bench, the squat, whatever it is, if you're feeling a 4 out of 10 that day, I would definitely advise you to scale it back on the days that you feel a 4 out of 10, and then if there's a day that you hadn't planned on lifting heavy in the gym but you feel a 10 out of 10, do it on that day. Yeah, perfect way to do it.
Absolutely.
What would you say to someone just starting out? What would you say to someone just starting out in the gym?
Someone just starting out in the gym, go after posture first. So think about posture.
Because you could be 25 starting out in the gym, you could be 40 starting out in the gym, you could be 18, it just depends. What would you say that could sort of link everybody together about starting out in the gym for the first time?
learn about your left and right sides and start to think, is that side stronger than the other side? Because that's the stuff that's going to come back to bite you. So it's one of the most simplest ways to explain it. A lot of movements that everyone picks to do, they're told that are the best movements: the squats and the deadlifts, the overhead presses and the pull-ups, and it's always generally both limbs going at the same time. So
and that's those exercises are probably harder to depict if one side's stronger than the other, especially on exercise where the weight can be distributed to both arms. One arm can take over very, very easily.
Yeah, exactly, and it's that's what causes the most issues. So if you ever have pulled one trap, or you've strained one side of your lower back, or you've just annoyed one shoulder, it's generally because either one's doing too much or one's not doing enough, and that's it's never sometimes the shoulder that's causing the problems that actually gets hurt. It's the other one, because it's trying to do more than it wants to, they can get hurt as well. So having exercises to test your single arm press would be a big one, and one exercise I always recommend to try with that is the bottom up press, because it's still quite easy to cheat with single arm pressing with a dumbbell, so you can still learn how to press wrong, like I said, or you can get stronger in bad ways. So a bottom up press is something that requires you to have good stability, and if your stability is not kicking in there, you won't.
We're just going to play a wee clip here now of what a bottom up press is.
So
for anyone who
the magic in that is that you can actually you can notice straight away if the stability is not there, and if one arm's crazy good at it and the other arm's not, then how does that translate to a barbell? It doesn't carry over, because both arms are going to go at the same time, and then that's why you'll pull like your left trap. It's always the one side that seems to go on you. So that's going to be a great exercise, and again that translates across the board for people, because like what happens is, say you get someone that comes to you that can press 150 kilos. What exercise are you going to give them to help with their shoulder pain? You know what I mean? You can't just give them a banded exercise. It's not
because their chest muscles or whatever other muscles are going to overtake the injured muscle, or what do you mean?
They can bluff everything. You give a really, really strong dude a band, they can snap the band in half. You give them a little pink dumbbell to do sevens or any sort of rotator cuff exercise. They can fling it over their head. It's nothing to them. Whereas the bottom up press, you're going to figure out real stability issues there. You can see that it's going to be transferable. So if you've got a guy that can press, like I said, 150 kilos, and they're coming in and they can't even do a bottom up press with say an 8 kilo kettlebell, then the stability's not there, and they've just got crazy good at leaning back and pressing up with like their pec, rather than actually engaging with the lats and doing all the proper stuff and having good core engagement. So it's good to have exercises like that that's actually going to test real stability as well. So lunges are another really, really good thing as well to work on, because obviously one leg going at a time, and they're a good thing to start off for someone that's new, because there's less spine movement in them, and they're also going to help to improve range. So deep lunges of all different types of variations, anything that causes retraction.
Do you think people should start off in static lunges first, or start off in walking lunges first?
I'd say static. Keep things slow at the start. Slow with everything. Don't try and add speed to anything until you've been doing it.
Is there
if you can move like a really quiet ninja, then you can start to add speed into things. There's no point in trying to go too fast too soon.
And is there any preference over reverse or forward lunges?
I do prefer reverse lunges. I think
they actually cause people less pain in their knees. I'm not exactly 100% sure why, but I know people with knee pain, if they do reverse lunges, oftentimes they're not feeling the knee pain.
It's not as much of the problem that I find with people doing front lunges. They push too much off the front leg
when they're going back the way,
rather than actually bringing themselves up first and then stepping back. They're actually pushing everything through the kneecap, and that's what starts to cause them pain. So that's what I found. So the backwards lunge is a safer one,
because they equal the weight distribution between the front and the front.
So they bring it right down, slow it right down, stand up first until your knees are almost straight, then step back, rather than trying to push all off the front leg if you're doing forwards lunges. Walking forwards lunges I really, really do like, and I do feel that they load the glutes really well as well, especially if you've got a weight in front of you. Like really, really good exercise. Just move slow, take your time, do not bang your knee into the floor especially. And especially with that, especially someone starting out, don't be buying knee sleeves, don't be buying wrist straps, don't be buying headbands. You can buy a headband, I suppose, if you sweat out your eyes. But don't be buying a weightlifting belt, don't be buying any of that stuff. You should be able to train naked. You'll probably not be allowed to do it in the gym, but you should be able to train naked. You shouldn't need straps, belts, blah, 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 blah. You should learn natural core stability. Big thing as well. So big.
So I would advise definitely, for especially people starting out in the gym, knee sleeves and all, they're really for powerlifters to get them extra, that extra 1.25 kg. You know what I mean? That's all that they're for. They're not for people, you know what I mean, who are starting off in the gym. They want to try and do a few press ups, a few lunges, whatever it is. You don't need elbow sleeves or knee sleeves or bands or whatever else, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Starting on the gym we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we said
no belts, no knee sleeves, and then retraction. Retraction is a big thing. So anything that's going to pull the shoulders back, get good exercises like that. Animal movements, it's going to be a really good one as well. So when you're crawling, your crab walks, anything like that that makes you move the joints all together at the same time, it's going to be really good exercises for you to do. Master the body weight stuff first before you even bother with weights, because if you're going to jump into weights too soon, there's a big chance you can get hurt. Whereas if you make yourself really strong through your joints and your core, you're going to be a lot safer.
Only thing about that is what if you have someone who is on the heavier side, who really struggles to do body weight stuff because they have more weight? You know what I mean? If you had someone who is say average weight, you know what I mean, they're going to find a body weight lunge or a squat or a press up or a bear crawl a lot easier than someone who's on the heavier side. What's your thoughts about that?
Hold on to something. So we have, I don't know if you can see the rig posts in the background. Best things you can do, just hold on to the rig post and literally walk yourself up and down for lunges, walk yourself up and down for squats. If you're carrying a lot of weight, that's going to be your weighted exercise, it's going to be your excess weight, and as you start to lose that, then everything's going to be way crazy stronger. We have a lot of guys that we've had that have lost, say, tons of weight. They are so strong now, it's insane. See on that bike, I've never heard the bike make noises like it. It's insane just because of the guy's legs. He's a cyclist, and he's well over 30 stone. He's down to say 16, 17 stone now. Yeah, and just the strength of this guy is just unreal. So it's not
because he's been dealing with everything at 30 stone now that he's 16 stone. So he's 10 times. He's as strong as a 30 stone person.
Yeah. So it's not something to be like annoyed about or even ashamed of. Like, use the weight that you have now as something that's going to help you long term, and just don't be trying to throw yourself down in the movements or do anything fast. Do things slow. Make yourself, if you're going and shaking, it's probably a good thing. You've probably got good core tension going on. So use stuff to assist you. Hold on to things to work on lunges. So still do the same exercises, but even the likes of rows and the rings and stuff, just be standing up that little bit more. You don't need to start loading up with weighted squats and stuff if you are carrying that weight, because you're already getting enough stress through your body from
body weight squat with someone who's heavier is just as much as doing a squat with a weight and someone who's a lot lighter.
Yeah, so it's gonna tax you in the exact same way. So there's no point. Save the weights for later.
Save the weights for when you're lighter.
Yeah, exactly. So put the weight back on again on your shoulders like that, and then you can feel what you used to be like. So take it as positive. Take it as positive, and work on good progressions and take your time. Just remember that you may be struggling now, but you won't be forever. So build it up slowly.
That's good. I nearly want to end it there. That was good, but now we've one more. So what if you're getting injured a lot? What do you suggest? Someone who feels like they always pull the same hamstring. I know we did talk about it. If you're pulling, if you're getting injured on one side more than the other. But say, for instance, someone is getting injured quite a lot. What is your suggestions on it? Do you think does that fall in line in the same sort of thing? Is that the reason why they're getting injured a lot is because they have one side that's stronger than the other, or one side that's weaker than the other, and it's compensating? Would that play along with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And you need to strip everything right back, because if you say you've got injured like badly and needed to take up to 6 weeks off at a time, say it's happened 3 times, say it's been the same place 3 times, or it's been like your neck, your hip, and then your knee in different places, and you just keep getting these random bouncing pains, everything's out of whack, and you need to strip everything right the way back and fully assess yourself. So assess your hips properly, make sure that your knees are both moving and both the same page, make sure that your feet are both strong, make sure your balance is good on each leg in the same way. So many people have shit crazy hard balance on one leg, and on the other one they're just falling all over the show, and that's what's going to bite them in the ass when they're trying to lift heavy, because whenever they put themselves under enough stress, the body's going to default to where it feels most stable, and it's going to shift you over to one side, and then that's whenever the spine's not happy because it's being loaded on the one side, and then that's when you can really start to aggravate, especially the lower back. You can cause an injury to the lower back just because of your balance being off on one side, and people don't know this stuff. So if you are running into those issues and always getting injured, like I said, it's happened 3 times or more, you've just got to go, no, I'm going to end up badly hurt here if I don't address this. So step things right the way back, test your arms individually, make sure that your posture is good, make sure that your thoracic rotation is the same on both sides as well. So it's all these things that start to twist stuff.
And although I know it does sound actually complicated, but it is actually, it's more simple than you'd think. Like I know Tom said thoracic rotation, but that is literally just twisting round side to side. If you can twist the same amount, you know what I mean?
You do that right
thoracic
now.
extension is up and down. It just, they're always
here and I twist this far, but I go to this side and all of a sudden we get the mirror. you can visibly see a noticeable difference. So
Yeah.
it's that simple, you know what I mean? What happens when I move that there? What happens when I move that there? You know, you'll notice very quickly. A lot of people notice things very easily when they're pointed out to them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If
Like
you
some
get
people,
someone-
yeah, I've seen it before where I said, you know, someone I'm just noticeably straight away as soon as they do a squat on that box or something like as basic as that, they'll end up, you know, coming down right the way down to one side and they don't even realise they're doing it until as soon as I point out to them, like, oh my god, and then they fix it straight away, and then so one leg, you know, one leg is taking all the weight, and one leg isn't taking any weight.
Like you have your phone. Like your phone is the most valuable piece of equipment you have.
Literally,
It's
everyone
like-
has a phone these days. Like if you don't have a phone, I don't know what's wrong
Yeah,
with you.
it's like, you're moving sideways. No, I'm not. Yes, you are.
No, here's
It's
a
the
here's
easiest
photo, or
thing.
like, and even gyms have mirrors as well. You know, watch yourself in the mirror. Like I know some people would be self-conscious and they don't want to look in the mirror. They look away from the mirror and stuff. But if you feel like one side's, you know, feels like it's always like if your left leg is always way worse off than your right leg, just take a wee look in the mirror and see what's happening. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm happy enough. Tom, thanks very much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Some unreal stuff there. So we're going to do a few mobility stuff here now, and the clips will be running at the end as well. And thanks for having me down, Tom.
Yes, thanks for coming.
Pleasure. Right.